characters series. When I was talking about Duryodhan and his envy, this question was in my mind, then why do we envy? Krishna is also in the heart of Duryodhan. Krishna is in the heart of every living entity. So why is it that some of us, in some of our hearts, envy comes up if Krishna is in our heart? I found this beautiful verse in Chaitanya Bhagavat, where Vrindavan's Das Thakur is giving this analogy about the sugar candy, how the sugar candy is actually very, very sweet, but when our tongue has a problem, when our tongue has jaundice, then we cannot actually taste the sweetness of the sugar candy. So similarly, that envy in our heart is it can only burn us when we don't have the higher taste. And there are different stages of envy. Like the first stage of envy is like a dissatisfaction stage. Why does he or she have this thing, whereas I'm not successful in gaining that particular power or position or beauty or whatever? Actually, we are in this material world, separated from Krishna because of this mentality, like why Krishna can enjoy and I cannot enjoy. So that's the reason we are here. And one good example is also of Dhruva Maharaj, because Dhruva was envious of his brother. He was like, why does my brother have something I don't have? And when Dhruva Maharaj went to the forest, and when Narada Muni met him, that was one of the instructions Narada Muni told him was, don't envy. And in fact, if you go back into the story of Dhruva Maharaj was actually a Brahmana in his previous life who had a prince friend, and Dhruva became envious of this prince friend, and that's the reason that he got birth as a prince in this life as Dhruva. So he got this realization when Lord Vishnu came, and he realized that why have I been asking for something so small and insignificant? At the same time, he had to bear the consequences of that austerity Dhruva Maharaj did by accepting this huge responsibility of running the whole palace. So anyway, that is like, again, every time we envy, even if we become very austere or we become very severe in our practices, we take up some kind of a vow, if there is envy in the heart, then the result of it is always going to be heavy and burdensome. And then there is the next level of envy, which is like, since I don't have, I don't want the other person to have. So that's again, Duryodhan is an example of that. When he went to Indraprastha and he saw that Pandavas had turned this place into amazing magical place, and he couldn't stand it. He was so envious. So he actually became so angry, so bad and evil, that he wanted to take that position, take that success away from Yudhishthira. And then there is the next stage of envy, which is like criticizing everything that the person we are envious of, whatever they are doing, we tend to criticize them. For example, the Shastric stories of Daksha and Shiva. Daksha became very envious of Lord Shiva, and he started criticizing everything about Lord Shiva. Everything, anything he could find, he was criticizing. And then, of course, it's the whole consequence of all these envious actions. When we take action based on envy, whether we get into doing austerities or whether we tend to take away through with our power, we try to punish somebody, or we try to criticize everything the person does. Ultimately, the result is like drinking poison and expecting another person to die. I mean, I was just thinking, like in India, even in India especially, I think it's everywhere, even the guard, like the chowkidar at the gate somewhere in some building, he wants to wield his power over us by saying, no, you cannot go. So this is like a typical example of envy to when we have a position or a power, then we want to control others. So these were the symptoms. These are the symptoms of envy, when we feel these things: dissatisfaction, comparison with others, and then trying to take away what the other person has, and then criticize people that we are envious of. We usually criticize people when we are envious. Of course, if you are in a position to correct others, it's different, but in general, that should not disturb our mind, because we should keep our hearts clean, and we should invite Krishna to enter our hearts. So we should keep it envy-free. I hope you found these sharings and thoughts useful. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.